Alright, welcome everybody to my first official video. Today I'm going to be talking about the top 5 biggest rivals in the Premier League. I hope you all enjoy the video, and if you do, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell. Let's get started. First up, at number 5, we have Leeds versus Chelsea. Now, this may not be too well known of a rivalry as they haven't played much in recent years, but it is certainly a big rivalry. They both got promoted to the English First Division in the mid-1960s, and their first game against each other at the top was brutal. Leeds' Johnny Giles had to be stretchered off, and the games after this were not any less violent. Leeds were considered a dirty team at the time, and Chelsea were considered a flashy team at the time, and the matchup was given the nickname Yorkshire Grit versus Flashy Cockney. After their promotion, they became prominent clubs in England. The peak of the rivalry is the 1970 FA Cup final, after the first one had ended in a draw, which forced the replay. Leeds winger Eddie Gray was constantly getting tackled and was pretty much immobile at halftime. After this, two players punched each other, and Chelsea's Eddie McCready did a kung fu kick on Billy Bremner's head, and only one single yellow card was given out. There were more incidents after this too in the 1980s. In the 82-83 season, 60 fans were arrested at the stadium, and another 150 were arrested in the London Underground for fighting. And in 1984, when Chelsea beat Leeds to win promotion back up to the First Division, the scoreboard at Stamford Bridge was destroyed by Leeds fans and 41 people were arrested. Next up, at number 4, we have Liverpool versus Everton. This rivalry started out peacefully, and it was even given the nickname the Friendly Derby, and it was common for people in Liverpool to support both teams. Now, it is commonly known as the Merseyside Derby and is one of the biggest in England. In the mid-1980s, the teams were two of the best England had to offer, and every match between the two mattered. From the 1984-85 season to the 1986-87 season, Liverpool and Everton were the first and second place team every time, with Everton winning twice and Liverpool winning once. In the 1985-86 season, when Liverpool won, Liverpool only won by 2 points, and if Everton had tied or won the game that they lost to Liverpool earlier that year, they would have been the league winners 3 years in a row. This matchup has never had the amount of violence that Leeds versus Chelsea won, but it is certainly a lot of tension when the two teams meet. Liverpool has recently dominated it though, with Everton winning just 2 of the last 27 games between the two teams. Starting the top 3 off is the Manchester Derby. That's right, Manchester United versus Manchester City. When soccer first started in England, there were a lot of teams from Manchester, but United and City quickly became the top 2 teams. Now, similar to the Merseyside Derby, this matchup started pretty peacefully, and in the early 1900s it was common to support both of them. Some incidents in the 70s escalated the rivalry between the two. In 1970, United's George Best broke Glenn Pardo's leg and it almost got amputated. In 1974, Manchester United were facing relegation and had to play Man City on the final day of the season. In the 82nd minute, Dennis Law scored a goal for City to put them up 1-0, and the game ended up having to be abandoned because of a pitch invasion. The result ended up standing, and United were relegated down to the second division. More recently, in 2012, Manchester City's Aguero scored a historic goal in the 94th minute against Queen's Park Rangers to win City the league over Manchester United only on goal differential. Historically, Man United have almost always finished above City, especially during the Sir Alex Ferguson years, but over the last decade, City have been finishing higher than United. Overall, Manchester United have the better record in the head-to-head, with United winning 77 games and City winning 57 games. Coming in at number 2 is Arsenal versus Tottenham. The classic North London derby is always a big game each year for these bitter rivals. The rivalry kicked off in 1913 when Arsenal moved from southeast London to North London, very close to Tottenham Stadium. Tottenham were not happy about the move and did not welcome their new neighbours. One thing that did not help the rivalry between the two was the league expansion in 1919. Tottenham had gotten last place in the 1914-1915 season, which was the last season before World War I started, which stopped soccer in England. For the 1919-1920 season, they were expanding the league to 22 teams, and Tottenham bid for one of those spots, believing that they should have it as they had competed in the league previously. But their London rivals, Arsenal, who had gotten 6th in the second division, beat them to the spot, relegating Spurs to the second division where they would win the title with ease down there. The rivalry is so bitter that only 15 players have played for both teams. For comparison, 45 have played for both Liverpool teams, and 39 have played for both Manchester teams. In 2004, during Arsenal's invincible season, they barely tied Spurs at White Hart Lane to seal the title and keep their undefeated record alive. Although they were told not to celebrate if they won, the Arsenal players decided to anyways right in front of the Spurs fans. Alright, before I reveal the number one rivalry, I would like to give out a quick honorable mention to the Dockers Derby. Even though this video is the Premier League rivalries, I think Millwall vs West Ham still needs a shout out. It definitely would have been on the list if Millwall in the Premier League. It is one of the longest lasting derbies in England, and both teams start on the River Thames in East London, and the supporters and players for each team were from rival firms on the docks. An interesting fact about the rivalry is between 1899 and 1915, they played each other 60 times. In 2009, the Upton Park riot was a major event where the two faced off. The field was invaded many times, a Millwall fan was stabbed before the game, and there were riots outside the stadium. It ended in a 3-1 win for West Ham, but the scoreline was not what the headlines read. Coming in as the number one rivalry in the Premier League is Manchester United versus Liverpool, an absolute classic matchup that is always guaranteed to be a great game. The two teams are the two most decorated in England, with over 130 trophies between the two teams. There's only ever been one direct transfer between the two teams, and it was in 1964. Part of the reason behind the rivalry is the competition between the two for being the best club in England and having the most trophies in England. For a long time, Liverpool had the most trophies before Manchester United, led by Sir Alex Ferguson, took over that spot, but Liverpool has reclaimed it in recent years. However, there are some more economic reasons behind this derby. In the 1800s, Liverpool and Manchester were both competing economically to make more money. Liverpool used to be the only port on that side of England and had control over imports and exports, which brought in most of their money. But in the late 1800s, Manchester built their own ship canal to allow imports into Manchester, as they did not like the high fees they had to pay Liverpool. This had a huge negative financial impact on Liverpool and helped brew the rivalry. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and if you disagree with me, leave a comment down below saying what you think the top rivalries are.